Man, I'm hungry. And there's no way I'm cooking again. Wyoming is still uninhabitable from last time. So I guess I'm ordering something. 50 minutes to get here? That's absurd! I'm only in orbit. You know what? I'm just gonna make a small little tear in reality and teleport the pizza up here. Perfect. I'm sure that's fine. Hello Grim Doomblers and welcome to Grim Dawn, the game that ruined ARPGs for me, because it's such a perfect fit for my ARPG needs that every other game feels lacking in comparison. And so, when I saw the announcement of its newest expansion, I knew I had to make a video about it, to justify my hopeless addiction. So then, let's start at the basics. The game begins with you being hanged because you are possessed by an ethereal, otherworldly invaders that, somehow, found a way into the world of Cairn. But before you die and lose your hardcore run, a man named Captain Bourbon cuts the rope by shooting it. Because you aren't living in some medieval fantasy world, where the only option to hit something that isn't right in front of you is to say some magical words that took 4 years and millions in debt to learn. This is the Victorian era, which has a better version of magic. Guns. Though magic is also a thing in this world, but before we get lost in magic and gun talk, let's go back to what happens right after you wake up having recovered from being hanged. After waking up, you discover that being possessed by an ethereal gave you incredible powers, such as an isometric view of the world, standing still and hitting stuff, and the ability to rotate the world around you. And I guess also the ability to open rifts in reality to teleport yourself and others around, but I mean, who can't do that, right? Then in terms of controls, you move around by clicking or holding the mouse to direct your character around, or use WASD if for some reason you prefer it. Having learned how to walk, you can now head into Devil's Crossing, where you will discover the final ability being possessed gave you. The ability to complete tasks of any caliber, and being the only formerly possessed means that everyone is relying on you to kill eldritch horrors, pick up scrap, or even the dauntless task of going up a set of stairs and talking to someone else. The first of these tasks is to go kill whatever is making zombies appear. So you set off on your brave adventure to rifle through trash, grave rob, and destroy the local ecosystem. And save the world, if it's convenient, I guess. After using your incredible standing and hitting powers enough, you will level up and be able to choose a class 3. It's one of those games that doesn't call them classes, meaning you can tell how much someone has played it depending on if they use the correct term or not. But anyway, there are 9, soon to be 10, masteries, each with unique abilities and buffs. Going in order, you start with the Soldier, the standing and hitting mastery. Not in the same sense as before. In this case, I mean that Soldier can stand thanks to its incredible tanking abilities, and hits because it has nearly no magic nonsense. Dead gods and otherworldly invaders are at the doors, and Soldier's game plan is to hit them with a big stick until they stop. But if you instead prefer to deal with things the Finnish style, the Demolitionist is for you. An explosive expert whose criminal record got suspiciously lost in a fire, so I can't be 100% positive if it's a war criminal or not, but at least it's a war criminal on our side. It has plenty of explosive abilities, and is pretty good with guns or melee weapons because there are no class restrictions on weapons. So if you want to steal Soldier's stick, set it on fire, and hit the bad guys with it, you can. But if you instead want to use the stick to play fetch, the Occultist's got you, with its Hellhound, as well as the other dog person powers like throwing magic acidic balls that can melt your skin off, or summoning bolts of entropic power, or bringing someone's blood to a boil, causing horrendous internal hemorrhaging. You know, just another day in New York, as they say. But if instead you want to see the average citizen of London, the Nightblade is for you, with their signature ability of being ambidextrous, allowing for twice the regular stabbing. But to increase their stabbing potential, Nightblades also have blade magic, allowing them to summon magical knives, making them able to long-range stab. But if that's not magical enough for you, the Arcanist is perfect. The Arcanist is the closest thing to a sorcerer class, with plenty of spells, from the everyday magic missile to a shower of meteors, and even a giant flesh-melting laser. But say you liked all the magic stuff so far, but found yourself agreeing with Soldier about hitting bad guys hard with a stick. Well, if that's the case, then the Shaman might be of interest. It's got plenty of skills specifically for big two-handed sticks and even ranged sticks. And because the Shaman knows a guy who knows a guy who knows Mother Nature herself, it can summon lightning by hitting someone, as well as have small tornadoes and some pets for company. Then there is the first of the 3, soon to be 4, DLC masteries, that being Inquisitors, which dual wield guns. Oh, you actually need to know more? Sure, they have a bunch of support skills for guns, obviously so you can dual wield even harder, and like a ton of magic elemental stuff, which is cool, but like, dual wield pistols. But if you, like me, got a bit too excited about dual wield pistols and accidentally killed 5 people, a necromancer might come in handy. Or it might use your victims as its new cannon fodder / horrific monstrosity. Or it might drain the remaining vital essence out of them. You know, the more I keep talking, the less I want to call one up. I think I need a priest. And for that, you have the Oathkeeper, a tanky mastery with plenty of shield buffs and abilities, as well as the god-approved fighting style, as written in scripture. Spin around like that Tasmanian devil character from the cartoon. So, after 4 hours, 2 nervous breakdowns, 5 unscheduled therapy sessions, and 1 liter of coffee, you are ready to overcome your analysis paralysis and pick a mastery. After you do, you will be presented with a skill tree, or like skill road. And unlike most ARPGs, you do not proceed down the skill artery by spending points wherever. You need to spend points into the mastery itself to be able to progress so that you can unlock all that it has to offer. Fortunately, you do not get 1 skill point per level up. You get 3 until level 50, 2 until level 90, and 1 until 100, which is level cap. Meaning in the early game, you progress your mastery faster to help you get a feel for the mastery. And this is part of the solution to a problem that at least I have had, where I level up in an ARPG, open up my skill tree to see that using my 1 skill point, I get 6% more damage. And while cumulatively, it will make a difference, it doesn't do much right away, making a single skill point feel less important. Grim Dawn solves this problem by giving you multiple skill points per level up, and by making plenty of skills that are already pretty solid with just 1 point. This is also helped by the fact that you do not have to max a skill / node to put points into its modifiers. 1 skill point unlocks all of them, meaning that if putting more points in a skill doesn't benefit you, but putting points into a modifier does, you don't need to waste tons of skill points just to unlock the modifier. After another couple therapy sessions, you spend your skill points and complete the first quest, unlocking the first hub with plenty of side quests. So obviously you take them all and head on out. And while adventuring, you might encounter slith necklaces with no clue what they are or what they do, until you meet an NPC that wants 3 of them, something you might already have done by now. Because in Grim Dawn, you do not need the quest active to be able to complete it, meaning that you can scare the quest giver by telling them that you completed the very specific, very private task they were about to give you without any information or any clues from them. So since you unknowingly completed the quest, you turn it in and ding level 10, which is when the real game starts, because at level 10 you unlock one of the signature features of Grim Dawn, dual classing, allowing you to combine your first mastery with any other, bringing the total classes in the game to 36 with 9 masteries and 45 with 10. And I think that one person with analysis paralysis was just hospitalized from shock. Though it's not nearly as overwhelming as it sounds, for 2 big reasons. The first is that the choices of masteries are, I think, purposely spread apart far enough for you to get a feel with your first mastery before being prompted to pick a second, because you don't have to pick right away if you don't wanna. Hell, you don't have to pick at all, ever. The game is fully beatable up to and even including the endgame with no masteries. Is it easy? No. But it's been done as a challenge run and it's something relatively intended. The other big reason why it's not as bad as it sounds is that I can say with 0 cope that there are really no bad combos. Any combination of masteries is able to beat the game and perform decently in the late game activities. Obviously, some combos are better than others, because of better synergies and the like, but that doesn't change the fact that all combos are viable thanks to the extremely good balancing. But how can a mastery all about dealing physical damage up close and personal synergize well with a mastery all about dealing ethereal/elemental damage from far away? Well, the first way is by using a transmuter on a skill. A transmuter/mutator is a skill node that changes the skill it's attached to dramatically. For example, it can turn an ability with a cooldown into a spammable ability at the cost of reduced damage. Or it can add a requirement but give a good buff. For example, require you to use two-handed weapons for a damage and defense increase. Or it can change the damage type of an ability, turning a flamethrower dealing fire damage into a chaos thrower dealing chaos damage. For the soldier, one of its skills, Cadence, has a transmuter that converts all of its physical damage into elemental. But say that's still not enough. Well, that's where items come in. They come in 5 rarity. But not these 5. Those 2 are the stinky rarity, aka the early game or desperate for gear rarity. Commons being the absolute stinkiest because they have no affixes to bump up their rarity. Affixes are basically modifiers to an item, split in prefixes and suffixes, which give it more stats. Affixes can be magic or rare themselves, which is what actually defines the rarity of a regular item. Magic affixes are real basic, plus 15% damage type things. Rare affixes range from having a multitude of generic buffs like plus 15 offensive ability and plus 10 aether resistance to giving you extra skill points in a skill, which can push it over the cap to a max of plus 10, and some even have their own abilities that have a chance to go off whenever the conditions are met. And while regular rares are good, the peak of basic rares are double rare, meaning an item that has rolled a rare prefix and suffix. These are very rare but can be extremely powerful. However, you might notice that I refer to them as basic rares. That's because there's another kind of rare called monster infrequents, which unlike regular rares have specific drop locations. Whether they be regular enemies of a certain type or a specific boss, they allow you to specifically farm for them instead of relying on a chance to get them. And they come with some baseline good stats as well as rolling for prefixes and suffixes, but what I'm most interested in are the skill modifier. They are the final piece of the puzzle to make any class combo work by changing certain skills to become synergetic. These only show up on monster infrequents and legendaries, with legendaries often having some of the crazier modifiers for obvious reasons. Oh, and epics are also there. They're good, but not as interesting for now. Which brings us back to our battle mage and the item I showed. It turns the laser's damage to physical, allowing it to benefit from soldiers' bonuses for physical damage. Not sure how a giant laser is physical, but hey, it's cool. And this whole conversation brings me to the underlying topic of the last, 2 pages, build crafting. One of, if not the most important aspect of any ARPG. So, does Grim Dawn do it well? It sucks to be any other ARPG because this is the creme de la creme of build crafting. I haven't even mentioned devotions, and I won't so I don't go insane making a 5-hour-long gushing compilation. But trust me, every single system in the game is wonderfully interlinked, and it leaves so much room for creativity. I think it's so cool, but I also know who I'm dealing with. So I won't make a fool out of myself trying to explain a system I just barely fully understand. Just know that you can totally just wing it and adjust based on your situation, and have a nice chill time through the game, even up to Ultimate, which is the 3rd playthrough. After going through this in Borderlands 2, I can't believe how much better Grim Dawn does it. The story is nice and frictionless to get through. No 10-minute unskippable dialogue you have heard 8 million times. If you know where to go and what to do, it's a real smooth, easy experience. And that's not even all, because thanks to the merit system, you can totally skip having to do 3 playthroughs and only do 1, 2. Ultimate is a bit tough, but with the right strategies, you can get to level 30 right away and start on Elite. And this is the tip of the QOL iceberg. In Forgotten Gods, they also added mobility augments, which allow any mastery and any character to have some sort of mobility for faster traversal. There's also a pickup button, so you don't have to click on each single item that drops and can instead just spam a single button. And speaking of spamming a button, instead of having to click on each enemy individually, you can just hold down your mouse and hover over the general area of enemies, and you will seamlessly switch targets without needing to click on each one. You can also grab faction reputation boosters to make the grind to get high faction rep with new characters substantially easier. And while I could go on about the huge explorable world, the solid story, the great visuals, I hit my cap on the gushometer, and you don't want to know what happens when I go over it, so instead I will just say this. Obviously, there's no such thing as an objectively best anything, no matter what angry people on the internet want to tell you. But for me, Grim Dawn is the perfect ARPG. It gives me everything that I want from the genre, with great QOL, and without a bunch of things that I just don't care about. And with a new expansion, oh man, Ascension mode looks so sick and interesting, and so does this whole Awakening Epics idea to revamp a rarity that has fallen to the wayside. And don't even get me started. Damn, I really let myself get carried away there. Oh well, I will recover in a comedic amount of time, so no need to worry. Instead, subscribe, like, and comment telling me the reasons why Grim Dawn is your favorite ARPG, because it is.